All right, we're going to talk about angle relationships today. All right, the first type of angles we're going to talk about, adjacent angles. Are next to each other. They share a vertex. And a side. Adjacent, next to. They're next to each other and they share a side. So a picture of a pair of adjacents would look like this. If we call this angle 1 and this angle 2, angles 1 and 2 are adjacent to each other. They're next to each other. Their vertex, we could call it point A. They both have A as a vertex. And they both have side AB as one of their sides. Three angles in this picture, right? Give me a pair of adjacent angles in this picture. 1 and what?
3.
1 and 3 are adjacent. Good. 1 and what? 2 are adjacent. Good. 2 and 3 are adjacent as well. Okay? Next to each other. Share a vertex. Share a side. Give me a pair of adjacent in this picture. Go. 1 and 2. Good. What else? 4 and 3 or 3 and 4, right? Next to each other. 2 and 4. 2 and 4 don't share a vertex. Here's the vertex for 2. We'll call this red vertex. Here's the vertex for number 4. That's blue vertex. They don't share a vertex, do they? Okay, so if they don't share a vertex and a side, then they're not adjacent. Got it? Yeah, 2 and 4 are not adjacent. Okay. 4 and 3, 3 and 4, 1 and 2, or 2 and 1 are adjacent in that picture. A linear pair of angles are adjacent and form a line. A linear pair of angles. Here's the term we're talking about. Linear pair of angles. They're adjacent and they form a line. 1 and 2. They're adjacent to each other because they share a vertex and they share a side, but they're also a linear pair because they form a line, don't they? Okay? A linear pair of angles are adjacent and form a line. Just make a note that they sum. What do they sum?
180.
Good. They sum 180. Because remember, the angle measure of a straight angle is 180 degrees. So a linear pair will always sum 180. Over here on the right, are any of those a linear pair? No two of them. See, 1 and 2 are adjacent, aren't they? But do they form a line? No. 2 and 3 are adjacent. Still don't form a line. 1 and 3 are adjacent, but they don't form a straight line, do they? Okay, so this is a big no. Not a linear pair. Vertical angles. Are opposite each other. And congruent. And congruent means they have the same measure. All right, so somebody give me a pair of vertical angles. Go. 1 and 3, good. What's another pair? Will? 2 and 4, good. What's another pair? Are 2 and 3 opposite of each other? It was kind of a set-up question. I was trying to get you to answer it. You took the bait. It's okay. There's not another pair. What are 2 and 3 called?
Adjacent.
They're adjacent.
Linear.
Yeah, linear pair. So look, a linear pair. What's a linear pair with 2? 1. What's another linear pair with 2?
3.
Good. What's a linear pair with 4? 1. What's a linear pair with, what else is up there? I don't know.
3, 4.
3 and 4, 4 and 3. Okay, they form a line. They form a line. So, if in this picture, if you're given one angle, you can find the measure of all the other angles. So if this angle measure right here is 80 degrees, what's the measure of angle 2? 80 degrees. What's the measure of angle 3?
80.
What's the measure of angle 3?
80.
Guys, they're a linear pair. 2 and 3 have to sum 180, don't they? They're linear. They form a straight line. So angle 3 is 100. Right? Look, right there. That's a straight angle. What's the measure of angle 1?
100.
Why?
Because it's opposite of the angle 3.
Here's what we're looking for. When I ask him why, all right, I said angle 3 is equal to 100. What's the measure of angle 1? He said 100. I said why. Here's what your answers need to get to be. It's a vertical angle with number 1. Or it's vertical to 3. Or that it's a linear pair with 4. Try to use the vocabulary that we're using right now, or the terms that we're defining, to justify your answer. All right? I know what you were seeing, and you were right, but let's use these terms to describe it. Okay? Any questions about vertical angles or a linear pair of angles? You're going to see that all year. Okay? If you can learn to identify a linear pair right away, or vertical angles right away, you're going to save yourself a lot of time. A lot of time. Complementary angles. Complementary angles. They sum 90 degrees. Complementary angles sum 90 degrees.
So like two acute angles could equal would be.
Yeah, they would have to both be acute, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So if you get this picture, got angles 1 and 2. Are angles 1 and 2 complementary?
Yes.
Someone said yes. How are they complementary?
Because there's some within some 90.
How do you know they sum 90 degrees? I'm picking on you now, brother. Is there anything on that wall that says that those two angles sum 90 degrees? There's not, is there? Did you assume that was a right angle?
Yes.
Yeah. And the questions in this database, they'll do that all year long. All right? Are 1 and 2 complementary? You glance at it, you're like, it looks like a 90. Yeah, they're complementary. They might be 89 degree angle. Okay, now, here's what you're looking for. You have justification now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, are 1 and 2 complementary?
Yes.
Yes, they are, because I know that they sum 90 degrees, because that symbol says that that angle measures 90 degrees. Or you've either got to get that symbol, or you got to get something like angle ABC equals 90. Okay? Either one of those. So don't ever just try not to look at the picture and assume that it's 90. Complementary angles sum 90 degrees. Now, they don't have to be in that, what's the word I'm looking for? They could look like this. We'll call this angle A, we'll call this angle B. If this is 40 degrees and this is 50 degrees, are A and B complementary?
Yes.
Yes. They don't have to be adjacent. They don't have to share any sides or vertices. They just need to sum 90. Good? Questions? All right, that's all we're going to cover for today.